We are rolling, so really excited to have Tavius, legend Gryphon alumni, joining us today. Tavius, thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with us.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
So take me back to when you were kind of, Guelph native, grew up in Guelph, and then went to GCVI. Actually was coached by Frank, kind of Frank the Tank, a Gryphon legend, our equipment manager. So you were with him at GCVI. How was the decision process to come to Guelph and kind of stay in your hometown to go to university?
Yeah, so I was at GC, and then so my dad had also played football at GC, and Coach T had coached him at GC. So then and growing up in Guelph, I was always at the Guelph games, the Guelph practices and all that, and like Frank was really like bringing me around there. Same with Coach Clough, and then yeah, it just turned out to be the best decision for me to stay home, play in my hometown, and yeah, it worked out well. So
And kind of first impressions of being on the team, like amazing facilities you had experience to an advantage, looking at the types of coaches. I know Coach Clough you worked with very closely. So what was it like kind of being involved in every aspect of the football program?
it was great, and I remember coming in early in the summer to start training with the team right away, like out of high school, and like just being able to use the facilities. And at the time, Coach Pierre was there, Coach Strength Coach Pierre, and then when Kenya came along. But yeah, it was just great to be able to get into it so early and just learn and get better, bigger, stronger. So yeah.
And kind of looking back, it's hard to believe that you only were in Guelph for 2 years. So you played 2018, 2019. Any kind of standout moments from those 2 seasons for the Griffins?
I would say the both Waterloo games in my first year and then the Waterloo game in my second year. I think I had a couple sacks in both of them. So those were kind of probably the two games I remember the most for sure.
Standout ones. Well, let's watch that one Waterloo game back.
The ball is fumbled and recovered by the Griffins. Game forwards. Winners tying. Field goal stands as the winner. Griffins 47. Warriors 44.
Yeah, that was definitely good times.
That was a big one. Also it's so cool just to see the Griffin support. And I know so many of you like still keep in touch. Is there a few players that you're still kind of in constant communication with, or players like back from your Guelph days?
Really like all the guys, and especially the guys I live with, like Jake Bennett, Jack, Andrew, Emmanuel, Olu, really everyone. Like everyone, we all stay in contact, and even some of the new guys that I didn't really get to play with, like Devin Cromwell, like we're in contact and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just they've all been great, and it's good to stay in contact with those guys for sure.
Yeah, and I know your family's still in Guelph, so whenever you can, you kind of come back to visit. And kind of other way, I know a lot of the previous coaches have come down to visit you. So I know Frank and a few alumni came down a few weeks ago for the game against Alabama. So what's it been like to have the support from them?
That's been so great too. They get to come out and support me and watch me, and it's just crazy. And they always think they're like so excited to see me, and they're happy with they see all the facilities and how it is down here, and like they get all excited and stuff. So it's always great to be able to have people like that in your life for sure. So
Yeah. And I guess kind of bittersweet, the 2020 season was canceled for Guelph. So I know you made a highlight reel, and I was just looking at it before this, and it has like almost 12,000 views on Instagram. So you definitely got your video editing skills out for that one. So what was kind of the decision where you knew like, okay, not going to play OUA football for 2020? Kind of what was the process like to kind of start looking at schools down south?
so basically it had got canceled, and originally like it wasn't even something that I thought was possible. But like again, I had great roommates like Jake and all those guys. They're like, man, like now's your opportunity. Like everyone always said I could play D1 and all that. So they're like, now's your opportunity. Like we're gonna make a highlight tape, send it out, and like this is your shot. So like, and at first I was like, yeah, like whatever, sure, I'll make a highlight tape. And then yeah, I did that, and then next thing you know, I had offers coming in and stuff, and then it all happened so quick. So yeah, shout out to my roommates though, for real, for real.
That might go to Jake's head. He might want to become an agent for football players. Do you think, kind of looking back, I don't want to phrase this in a negative way, but are you glad that you took the time, because you probably could have gone D1, right out of high school? Are you happy
Mhm.
that you made the decision to kind of stay hometown, kind of build everything in Guelph, and then make the decision to transfer?
For sure. I definitely think it worked out well because my 2 years at Guelph were great, and I think it prepared me to be able to jump straight into the SEC. So, like, I wasn't coming straight out of high school to the biggest stage of football of college football. So, I think Guelph really kind of helped me get ready for the SEC. And then when I made the transition, it was a lot smoother than sometimes it would be out of high school. So, yeah, I'm definitely happy with how everything went.
And what was it like, kind of your first game dressing for Ole Miss? Like, you see the highlight reels and the Clef will often send me a clip on Twitter to put in our newsletter view from a play that you've made, and the fan dynamic looks insane. I mean, game day experience at Guelph is pretty cool, but what was
Mhm.
that transition like, and kind of being kind of a player on the team for your first dress?
It was really crazy, and the first year was the COVID year, so, like, stadiums were only, like, 50% capacity, but, like, it was still so loud, and, like, we have this thing called the Walk of Champions where you, like, walk through and all the fans are down the side and stuff, so, like, it was just a real experience, and then, the first year out of COVID was even crazier, like, going into stadiums like LSU, Alabama, and, like, just loud environments, but, yeah, no, it was crazy, but, you get used to it, and then eventually it's nothing, but no, it's definitely crazy.
Yeah, block out the noise. Maybe it was the best way to have kind of that COVID year, to like a bit of a transition,
Mhm.
so it wasn't as much of a shock to the system.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
what would you say, kind of, to anyone, like, we're really big into the recruitment process now for Guelph. So what advice would you share to any young football players in general, or just kind of anyone considering Guelph?
I think the biggest thing is, Guelph's gonna be a great place. They got all the facilities, everything you need, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, yourself and the work that you're willing to put in. So, you have all the resources, but you have to use them and just, believe in yourself and just work as hard as you can every day to achieve what you want to achieve. So, yeah,
So definitely, on behalf of Gryphon Football, we want to say congratulations for the invite for the NFLPA Bowl. So what's the plan, kind of leading up to that in January?
appreciate it. So basically, once our season's over here, I'm gonna start training for the combine and pro day and all that stuff. So I haven't picked what facility yet, but I'll be at a facility training for that, and then I'll go to the bowl game, playing that, and then I'll go back to whatever facility I'm training at to get ready for the pro day, combine, and all that, and then yeah, see what happens after that.
Awesome. Well, with the holidays coming up, I know you've got a busy schedule, but if you do come back to Guelph, we'd love to see you kind of on campus. I'm sure Clef would love to give you a tour, show you the facilities and the updates that we've had. But thanks so much for chatting with us. We wish you all the best. We're always watching and cheering you on, and excited to see what's next for your future.
For sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.